Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Going Ballistic podcast. We missed last week. I am so sorry. That is my fault. I was in an area where I thought I was going to have internet access, and I didn't. But I'm here now, and we're on episode what? Which number, Jason?
I believe we're on 33.
Can you hear me talking? Because I can hear me talking. How about now? It's bad enough you guys have to listen to me. I got to listen to me too. So that's what goes on when we do the show live, guys, is you get stuff like that. So sorry about that. So Jason, how the heck are you, man?
Good, man. I'm doing really good, actually. Been busy with work, but I finally got to get out and do a little bit of shooting a week ago. So finished getting the information I needed for my verticals. I'm ready to start learning windage.
Good. Well, real quick, a quick announcement, a little bit of housekeeping. We've announced a new podcast I'm doing at the Firearms Radio Network. It's called Trigger Words, and it's going to be law and politics and a little bit of guns too. And when we had announced it, more than one person said, "Wait, you're getting rid of Going Ballistic, or is this replacing Going Ballistic?" And I had to keep them calm and say, "No, we're keeping Going Ballistic." And one person actually said, "Thanks for keeping it separate." And I responded with a question mark, like, what do you mean separate from the other show or off of my Facebook page, or what do they mean? And he said, "No, just thanks for keeping it separate from the Going Ballistic podcast." And I responded, "Oh, don't like the legal talk, huh?" And they came back with, "Nope, just don't like anything that interrupts the banter between you and Jason." And I've heard that more and more now the past couple of weeks, that people are liking that. So I'm glad, man. I love having you on, and let's get to that banter and less talking for me. So tell me about shooting. What did you take out to the range?
Okay, so I took out the 308, and I took out the 223, the AR, and did my hike.
The nice one that you built?
Yes, the nice
one.
Okay. So took some big pieces of cardboard that are about 6 feet tall by 3 feet wide, rolled them up, went for a hike over all my rolling hills, set up a target at 450 yards, set up another one at 850 yards.
Now, how did you confirm the distance? Because you were just out in the desert, right?
Yeah, I had my rangefinder, so I was shooting my truck as I was going.
Okay.
And of course, it was a neat learning lesson, as we've talked about how you said you can't really judge wind out at a distance. So each rolling hill that I went over, I started a hike and I felt some wind blowing, left to right, and I'm thinking, great, that's all I need today, wind. I hit the next hill and there's no wind. I'm like, okay. Cross the next hill, the wind's going with me. So I'm like, oh, this is just all over the place. I really hope this works out today. So anyway, set up my cardboard and then hiked back, took a break, relaxed, had some water, got set up, shot at my 450 target, and I wasn't worried about how far it was going to blow to the right. I just wanted all my vertical numbers. I could actually hear it hitting the cardboard, so that was no problem. Then, of course, at 850 yards, I can't hear anything. So I thought, well, we'll go to the far left of the cardboard where I painted my triangle, shoot, did both guns, took off across the desert. Of course, I get to my 450 target, and the bullets are all, 1.5 feet to the right. But nice group. I mean, everything vertically was probably within 3 inches.
All right, so let's back up real quick. First, if it wasn't for wind, everybody could be a sniper, right? I want to make a T-shirt out of that. Like, seriously, that should be. I used to hate the wind too, and now I embrace it. Like, good, we got a challenge today. So if it weren't for wind, everybody could be a sniper. If you steal that idea for a shirt, give me credit, but don't really, because I'm sure I'm not the first person to say it. Second, the groups were within 3 inches of each other. Talk to me about that.
Within 3 inches of each other vertically.
Okay. Now, does that mean that's just because you had the good dope for each rifle? Did you use similar dope for each rifle?
Okay. So from where I was aiming at 450, they were actually a little bit low, but all my bullets were really, really close to each other. The wind may have pushed them, within 4 or 5 inches.
Say that again.
Oh, sorry about that. The wind might have pushed them a little bit to the right, but my vertical, I mean, they were all just right there next to each other.
Right. So, what I'm trying to get around to is the idea that the 223 and 308 have extremely similar elevation adjustments.
Yes.
So what did you shoot for your elevation above your 100-yard zero for each rifle?
Okay, so which I have.
Breaking out the paper. Sound
I
effects
got
and
the
all.
paper. That's
All
right.
right.
So for the 308 at 450 yards,
Uh-huh.
um,
Probably about 10.
I was shooting 10, but my correction now is 9.5.
Okay.
Okay. And then for the 223 at 450, it's quite a bit different. And I don't know if that has something to do with the silencer or not, but I was shooting 12 and it is now 11.5.
Interesting. That's
So,
just how that scope tracks, how
yep,
those bullets fly. Who knows?
yep. So, yeah, both of them grouped really well.
So why from the on the 308 the 10 to 9.5? Well, you saw you didn't hit where you wanted to, so you wanted to dial it in a little better.
Yeah, exactly. So on the cardboard, I was able to take my center line
Mm-hmm.
because the groups were nice and tight, and then just take a tape measure, basically do the math, and then enter it on my LRBC on Vortex's website for both the 450 and the 850, and it recreates my arc for me. So it did all the adjustments that I needed, and that's what was important for me for my 850 mark,
Mhm.
is to be able to get a cleaner arc. I didn't have that before.
Gotcha. I'm missing some of that, man. I'm trying to see what I can do here from techie side to try and keep it from messing up on us, but I'm having a bad connection.
Uh-oh. That's no good. We apologize for
Yeah,
that.
sorry about that. So you're saying that you measured it out, you did the math. So I assume if you're going from 10 down to 9.5, you were about 2.25 inches higher than you wanted to be.
That's correct.
Okay, awesome. So you did the math right and it worked out.
Yep, that all worked out.
Okay.
So got that piece of cardboard now, knowing that it's, roughly 1.5 feet to the right from the wind. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh no, another trip where there's not going to be a single bullet hole in this 850 mark because the wind
Gotcha.
pushed
Because
it
you're expecting
that
it to be
far off.
twice as far off at twice the
Correct.
distance, right? I gotcha. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So naturally, I'm hiking and I'm a little disappointed. But as I get to the 850 mark, lo and behold, there's holes in it. Success. And they weren't twice as far off because the wind, of course, as I was hiking over the hills and discussed, was not as prevalent once it crossed that 500-yard mark. So those holes in that group was probably, I think I measured out to 7.5 inches was the grouping.
That's awesome. For the
Yeah,
308 or the 223?
for both.
Good shooting, man.
Yeah, so I was super happy with the group. So the group was nice and tight and accurate. And the same deal, I was just a little bit off of my center, made that adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that all that was done, I did it on my phone, hiked all the way back. So then I took my rangefinder, looked for, good sized body size boulder at, it was 560 yards, used the new numbers that I had, and pretty much guessed for the windage because I don't know how to adjust for that appropriate yet. And it was an accurate guess. So I guessed 2 minutes of angle in my scope and literally put 5 shots, man. Couldn't have been bigger than a racquetball into that rock. Just
That's
a big white
awesome.
spot right in the middle of it.
And how far away was it again?
560.
That's great, man.
Yeah. So I got a lot to learn still on windage,
Mm-hmm.
but now that the vertical stuff's done, I'm ready to go have some fun.
So as your journey from, of course, all the experience you've had with firearms in your life, I'm not even presuming that it just started with us in this podcast, but as your journey from shooting rifles has gone, did you expect, I don't know, maybe a year ago to be shooting a racquetball size group at 500?
Absolutely not. From a hunting aspect, I mean, 300 yards is kind of my limit.
Yeah.
That's where I guess my skills put me at. So I never really had the skills to even attempt to shoot further at an animal or anything because, I don't want to wound an animal for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, we want
I'd
an
rather,
ethical kill. Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I've been doing this and have, honed my skills even better, and
Mm-hmm.
even with some of the equipment that you've led me into, oh yeah, once I get this windage stuff down, I'd have no issues taking a shot like that.
That's awesome. So I have one big question for you that I want to give. I want to tease and give you a chance to think about, if you don't mind. And the question
Okay.
is, what is the one biggest thing you attribute to your success in doing better long range? And it could be something like general, like starting back with the basics, or it can be getting equipment set up right, or starting a certain way, just whatever it is you think. And it doesn't have to be one thing. I just want some simple takeaway that our listeners can listen to and say, Jason progressed from here to there, and this is something I should focus on. And while you're thinking about that, can we knock out some of the chat things that came in? There are questions for you too, Jason. So you're gonna have to have your brain
Absolutely.
going. Larry, well, first Greg chimed in and said 223 and 308 have similar elevation adjustment, but not windage. And I already answered, said correct. They normally, I mean, of course, the different bullet shapes and types are going to be off, but generally, you match grade 223 and match grade 308, the heavier bullets in both varieties, either 168 or 175 for the 308 and 75 or 77 for the 223, they typically track about the same for elevation. I mean, give or take a small percentage here and there, but it's amazing how close they really are. But windage, they are very different. The 223 is blown a lot further off target. Larry asked, sorry for asking, what was the firearm and scope combo? Don't be sorry for asking, Larry. That's why we're doing chats here. He says, sounds like tight groups. And before you answer, I just want to warn Larry and everyone else, the magnification being high does not make a tight group. So be careful. That may not be what you meant, Larry, but when I read questions like that, I'm suspicious that maybe people think that it must have been really high magnification to shoot well, when you all know what I believe, the exact opposite's true. I think you would shoot a better group with iron sights than you would with a high magnification scope. But Jason, do you mind sharing for Larry and for some of our new listeners what firearm and scope combo you were using?
Yeah, so the scope that I'm using on both guns is a Vortex HST. The maximum magnification is 16 power.
Okay.
And I actually shoot probably somewhere between 12 and 14 at the longer ranges. I know you like to shoot 10, but for me, right there.
Oh no, I shoot higher too, especially as my eyes are failing me more and more. I'll shoot higher magnification. It's just, this might sound bad, but I can get away with it. I'll shoot on a scope and realize, you know what, this magnification is a little too much right now, and I'll still make the shot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But while you're learning, and if you're having troubles, go ahead and turn it down. If you can shoot at high magnification, shoot. But if you're having troubles and you can't figure out why you're not grouping well, try turning the magnification down, and it might help you. So
yeah, and if I'm at max, the max 16 power, sometimes it throws me off enough to where it's like I'm trying to overdo it. It moves so much that I don't know. I'm over stressing myself to try to hit that spot.
100%. Well, 50%. And the other 50% is you stare at the target too much. That's what most people do with high magnification. So awesome. Then Tyler asked, what's your opinions on stocks with more vertical grip angle as opposed to lesser angle grips, like the M40 style? I believe he's asking like a vertical grip, kind of like an AR style grip on like a chassis versus a regular rifle stock. He said, I believe Ryan has said he doesn't prefer vertical grips. Any particular reasons why? So I'll let you take a stab at it first, Jason. Which one do you prefer?
You know what? Believe it or not, I like them both. I feel more comfortable with the AR vertical grip than I do with the rifle, especially when I'm laying down and trying to hang on to the gun.
Is it because it's a more natural position maybe for your wrist? So it's not like you're not torquing your wrist forward, or what do you think it is?
Yeah, I do. I think it's more natural. And especially like I take my backpack and use that to sink the butt of the stock into when I'm laying down. And where my arm is positioned, it seems to be more comfortable for me versus the normal stock, which is on the 308, which I don't mind, but I think I prefer the vertical one more.
Okay.
It just seems more comfortable to me.
And that's why there's options out there, right? Because I prefer the other style more. My theory is that style grip, like an AR style pistol grip, is meant to allow you to control the gun better. That's why it's there on, I hate to even say this phrase, but I'm using quote fingers, assault style rifles. They have those so you can easily control the gun. And to me, the key to shooting a precision rifle when you're learning especially is to not control the gun. So why put this device on the gun that helps you control it when the last thing I want you to do is control it? And I don't want you torquing it. I don't want you gripping it and things like that. And if it's a bolt gun, I want you to run the bolt. I cannot stand a thumbhole stock or a pistol grip rifle stock where I have to pull my thumb completely out. Here, I'll pull it up for the video here. I have to pull my thumb completely out, grab the bolt, run it, and then get my thumb back up and underneath. It just doesn't work for
Right.
me. I like having my thumb to the right where the bolt is, so I can just pinch the bolt and go. That's where the safety is on most, bolt guns, things like that. I just like having my thumb on the right side. Now, to tease a little bit of an idea, all last week, the reason I didn't do the podcast, and I didn't even get to tell Jason not to do it, so poor Jason was sitting there waiting on me, was I was out at Colby Donaldson's ranch out at Texas Triggers, and it was a 4-day trip, and filmed a whole bunch of new videos with the NSSF. So all of you that like the original NSSF videos, I have good news. We're doing more. And for those of you that don't like those, I have bad news. We're doing more. we're doing all sorts of tips about how to get behind the gun, how to run a bolt, how to zero rifles, doing some how to deal with windage, how to spot, unsupported positions. We did a lot of topics. And I hope that you'll see in much of the videos, especially kind of the highlight reel stuff, is I'm running the bolt. And I'm running the bolt quickly and fast. I think quickly and fast are the same thing. Quickly with authority, and it reduces malfunctions. It gets me back up on the target for faster follow-up shots. And there's actually some cool shots we did. We had some drone footage of a drone behind me, and then the drone would zoom out to 500 yards. Then I would shoot 5 rounds as fast as I could. And with the bolt gun, Colby started timing a couple, and I think we got to 7 seconds for 5 shots. Was as fast as I could do it, but hitting. So 5 for 5 at 500 yards. You can do it. You really can. I was a little faster with the gas gun, but for me, it just doesn't work. But there's the answer for you. Kyle asked, I stress the importance of making sure that my scope is set up for you to have a good cheek weld, but how important is having the correct length of pull? So Kyle, it's just as important as the cheek weld. So matter of fact, it is the cheek weld. The cheek weld is height and forward and back. So when I talk about in my video for setting up scope, or in my book, when I talk about setting up scope, I talk about the length of pull first and how to set that up first before you even get to the height. So that's definitely how important I think it is. Holy cow. I can't keep up with the comments, Jason. Can you see them all coming in?
Yeah, I do.
Jeez. I'm glad you guys are chiming in. I really appreciate it. But don't be offended if we skip past it. Audio's fine. All clear. I'm going to read some of these while you answer, if you can, what you think has helped you transition from where you were to where you are the most.
I'd have to say the biggest thing that has helped me the most has got to be the trigger. I believe the trigger has helped me keep tighter groups, just because I naturally have been brought up shooting, hunting, and stuff like that. So I kind of have my own skill set there, and what we've talked about and things I've done to help me, little things have helped a bunch, but the triggers have really helped me. And I don't know that it's not that they're so light that I fire more accurately. I think it's that I can feel the trigger more than a standard hunting rifle. So like a standard hunting rifle, there's so much pull on it that I think you tend to tweak yourself off target a little bit. So I'm not saying that it goes so light that it just fires and you're on target. I feel like I'm able to control it more by knowing where it's at and knowing that steady pressure pull on both the 2-stage trigger and the single stage that I have on the 700. I think that's the biggest asset that I have. That's
awesome. All right, well, there you go, folks. If you're going to upgrade something and you need other things to work on in your gun, you don't know which one to do first, start with the trigger. That's what worked for Jason. That's cool, man.
And then I agree with you. As far as the bolt action goes, I do not think a vertical grip would work for me at all. Like you said, running the bolt and those kind of actions, I think it would just throw me off more. But for the AR, it works perfect because I never have to move.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Yep, I get it. With the AR. So more questions coming in. All these comments I'm trying to read through, and I can't get my brain straight on them. People are asking about what my opinions on the Ruger American Predator, my thoughts on the Bergara. You guys are going to kick me for saying this, but Tika, I took them out to the range. I had a bunch of rifles come out to me. I even had a couple rifles from a manufacturer that we have to embargo. We have to hide till SHOT Show. That I already called the manufacturer and told them I didn't want to give those samples back, and I already have my order in for the production model ones. That's how awesome this rifle is. And it completely caught me by surprise. The manufacturer, the style, the everything caught me by surprise. And it is the best in its class. And I can't even tell you what it is yet, but I'll tell you soon. But I got some Tikka rifles out there. So I had a Tikka Light, a hunting rifle, and they sent me a Tikka Tac, their chassis, even with a pistol grip, bolt action rifle. And for one of the videos we did at the NSSF, just for fun, because I'm trying to stay true to what I think my brand is with you all for teaching long range shooting, which is not overcomplicating it and being willing to show mistakes or, just kind of the warts and all. Is we had like a steady cam out there, and I looked at the guys. I said, hey, would you guys like to just do a one steady camera shot video on how to set up a scope and zero rifle? Like actually walking down range with me, walking back to the rifle, everything one steady shot, so that you knew we weren't faking and trying to sneak good groups in, or it actually just could be off the cuff banter like I would with a long range student. Like, yeah, sure, let's try it. And I'm so glad we did. And I even made a big mistake in the middle. Not a big mistake, but I made a mistake. I just looked at the camera and laughed. I'm like, well, screwed up. Let's go figure out why. And now that I did it, I'm glad I did. If I could have planned it, I would have made sure the mistake was in there so you guys could learn from it. But I did it with the Tikka Tac and a Vortex scope. And I stand down at the target. I'm like, here's brand new, mounted it on there. Let's go bore sighted at 25. Let's shoot one round. I went and talked about the math. Then I just talked to the camera with you, and you walk back and forth with me. And I think it was about 20 minutes, maybe a little shy of the entire process. And I shot 9 rounds. So 1 round at 25, a 3-round group at 100. And I made an incorrect adjustment, so I was in the wrong way. And we went down and talked about it. And the big takeaway was, so I screwed up. Let's not dwell on it. Those shots are downrange. Here's where the group is. Now we can adjust from where it is and get it onto the target. And so I made an adjustment and then shot a 3-round group and was just blown away. Brand new rifle, a Tikka Tac. I think they call it the Tac A1. I shoot a 3-round group, and it was the size of a bullet hole, a little elongated. Like it really was like an oval shape for a 3-round group. And I laughed, and I look at the camera as it's sitting there. I said, you know what? Let's do something that I shouldn't do. Let's shoot 2 more. The risk of ruining a perfect group like that to shoot a 5-round group. And I must have just favored a little bit high because the group was about a 1/2 inch low from the center of the target. Because the next 2 go into the same thing, Jason, like an oblong hole right dead center of the target. And I jump up from the rifle and just laugh. I'm like, you guys aren't going to believe this. Let's go check it out. And the camera walks down with me. And both groups, even though they're different, the 3 and the 2, even though I shot them all at once, you can see there's a gap. They're about 3/8 of an inch apart. And then each one of them are just 2 1 holes. I'm like, guys, I look at the camera and I'm like, why do you keep doubting me when I tell you to go get a Tikka? Like this brand new gun with factory ammo just outshot any custom gun out there. It's amazing what this gun will do. And I bring that up for the Ruger series because I think you can get them for $1,500. You can get the Ruger for $1,300. So, I mean, you can get a Toyota, which I love Toyotas. I drive a Toyota, which is a great, reliable, dependable, awesome car, or you can get a Lexus. And here I'm telling you the Lexus is only $200 more. So that's my advice for you. Get the Ruger, shoot the snot out of it. It's an American gun and love it. Or you want to spend a little bit more, get the Tikka. You probably won't be upset with either, but guys, my resolve for the Tikkas is just so much deeper after having really played with them a lot more and on film. So I hope you guys like those videos that come out and you'll see what I'm talking about. Some people are asking what my opinion is on SIG optics. I have no opinion yet. I haven't tried them. I'm a little reluctant to. I mean, I love their rangefinder, but I don't know how the scope's going to work, so I'll try them. I actually have SIG sending me some products to test out. Now they're in the mail. Go ahead, Jason.
I was going to tell you that SIG Kilo 2200.
Right?
Cabela's has them on sale this weekend. For, in fact, I have the ad sitting there. $399.
That's just the laser rangefinder, though. But yes. Yes, the 2400 has the weather and ballistic software, which is like $1,500. But the 2200s are awesome. I mean, if you already have a Kestrel, get the 2200. That's awesome. So yeah, all right, I'm going through some of these. Yeah, pistol grip. I'm shocked. Yeah, it has a pistol grip on it. And I called the Beretta guys after the trip. I said, well, you guys are gonna be very happy. We have a lot of awesome footage of your rifles, but I still hate the pistol grip. Michael asked me, Ryan, did you do any more 1,000-yard standing shots while at Texas Triggers? No, because I'm never going to try that again, Michael. that's something you don't try again. But I do have. I hope it makes the cut for the films for you. I do have a couple hitting at 500 without looking, which probably isn't the smartest or safest thing to do. But I got all set up on the target and just being a complete show off, picked my head up off the gun and turned over the buttstock. So I'm like looking completely to my right. And I started talking to the camera crew. And I was just BSing because I was just trying to kill time to not look at the target. Like, see, guys, I told you, when you get in a position, this is why you shoot off a bag. And if you're nice and stable, you can get in here and da-da. Then all you got to do is worry about trigger control. You know, you apply some steady pressure to the trigger, and you're going to make the hits work, guys. And they're like listening to me going, and I'm just filling time just to look at them long enough. And so I go like this, pull, and I'm staring at them, and we shoot, and you count to like 3, and you hear the ding. So I did a couple of those, and I'm not condoning shooting where you're not looking, but I had to do something to try and show off.
That's right.
So Kyle says Tikka's 800, Ruger American Predator's 400. Yep. But that's what my recommendation is. So you guys are not asking for I don't think you're asking anyway, for a budget rifle or the cheapest rifle you can get that does the job. I think you're asking for what rifle for performance. And $800 for a performance rifle, that's completely reasonable, I think. So trying to go through the rest. I can't even keep up, guys. All right, I gotta go on. Jason, if you see any that we can jump in, I love you guys commenting, but it's gonna ruin the podcast for everyone listening in their cars right now. Jason, you had a homework assignment a couple weeks ago.
I did.
You started a new project. What was that?
That was the Rocket FFL.
I have too many rocket companies now. I can't keep track.
Yeah.
So Rocket FFL, and you signed up. I mean, we're having Jason do it as if he was completely a stranger, so he can give me all the feedback. He's already been giving me great feedback. He's like, hey, this button here, you can't see it very well, or it makes it this way. So I'm getting some really good input. I'm not just like setting it up and sending him a link. I'm making him go through it. So how you registered? Okay. Did that process work? Did you get emails? What happened?
Yes. So the registration worked fine. The emails that came through are great. The updates that come through are great. I have done the introduction, part 1 and part 2, which is the responsible party or person.
Okay.
And that's where I am at currently. And I got to tell you, you know me, I'd criticize you in a second if something was goofy. It is really well done. I've learned a lot just in this little portion thus far.
Thanks, man. Good. I'm glad it's working for you. So section 1 I broke it down into chapters, and each chapter has multiple lessons. And the 2 shortest chapters are, I think, 2 and 3, which is you're on 2 right now, which is individual responsibilities.
Right.
Yeah, and you're dealing. So the introduction is, background on the FFL licensing system, FFL types, things like that, right?
Correct.
Okay. And are you doing it on a phone? Are you doing it on your computer? What are you doing?
I'm doing it on both, actually.
Okay, good. You sign back in. Is it saving your spot? Like it's easy to continue, or is it hard to find where you're at?
No. It picks up right where I stopped, right where I left off. I've been kind of keeping my own little notes in a notepad. And I actually have been doing the reading and the video, and they're both great. I really like the video that you did.
I'm actually thinking about doing the video separate because so many people have been having an issue with the video player not working right on their phone or computer because all that text is there. And so the software I use is meant to be, it asks you like, what type of lesson do you want next? You add a new lesson. Do you want it to be a video lesson, PowerPoint, a quiz, text, that kind of, you pick the one. Well, I'm doing text lessons, and then I'm like embedding the video at the top of the text lesson, which I thought was the best of both worlds. But apparently it's causing some issues for people. So I've been thinking, Jason, about just doing video lessons only. Like you open it up and the whole screen is just one big video that you play. And then putting all the text like in the next lesson, or then maybe like at the notes at the end of the chapter having all the text. Would you like that, or would that be harder for you to read all the text, a couple things later?
I enjoy reading the text. I mean,
But would it be okay if it was separate later, or do you like doing it at the same time? Like if you noticed, I'm putting a notes section at the end of the chapters.
Correct.
It'll say notes. I could just put it there, and you can almost read it almost like it was a book, if you would, from top to bottom. But it might make the videos easier for people, because the problem is some people want the videos, some people want just the text. So you guys that are listening, let me know, and Jason, you too. Let me know, would it bother you if it was just all videos at first and you could read the text later, or do you really like them having together?
No, I think it'd be better to have the video first and then the text.
Even if the text was later in the chapter.
Yeah, that wouldn't
Like
bother me a bit.
Okay, then that's what I'm going to do, because I think the videos would just play nicer. When it opens up on your screen, you would just see video only. You wouldn't have to scroll to, up and down for the video and the text and things like that.
Right.
Okay, well, I'll try that for actually the next chapter. So I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll roll it out only one chapter at a time. Tony says at the same time, never had a problem. That's awesome. Thank you, Tony. I get that complaint a lot. I mean, so I'm very fortunate that so many people are doing this, but there's so many new students every single day on it that it's hard to keep up. I'm my own support desk. I'm my own worst enemy here. I'm like the IT and the support ticket and stuff like that. So a lot of people are complaining about it. I'm just trying to make it as easy as possible. And on Rocket CCW, I did just the videos. And it does look nicer when you open up the screen, and it just pops up and goes. So I'll try it for chapter 3, Jason, and then you can let me know if you liked it there or not, because that's the next one you're rolling into, right?
Correct. Yeah, and I logged on to the Rocket CCW, and I'm going to try to get that one.
Are you going to do that one too?
Yeah, I got all logged on. So,
guys, we had I think we're at a few thousand now. We had a couple thousand people do it in the first week. So thank you, but if you haven't done it yet, they're onto something that you're missing out. It's free firearms training. It is the most basic training in the world, though. It is almost embarrassing to put out because it's so basic. It's good for people that don't know guns. Hopefully, if you're listening to this podcast, you like guns, and that's why you're listening. But you have someone that wants to just go buy a gun, send them to Rocket CCW. They don't have to get their CCW. They don't have to pay me $1. They can just get their username, and get free firearm safety training that talks about the 4 rules of firearm safety. It explains it, gives them a little safety quiz, talks about how to match ammo to it, how to keep the finger off the trigger, how to, they should store them safely. It's just a real quick down and dirty that at a bare minimum somebody should have when they've never dealt with a gun before. And I don't know about you guys, but if you're married, sometimes your spouse can listen to somebody else better than they'll listen to you. So use it for that. And if you want to get the certificate because you want to get your CCW, awesome. But you're not stealing from me if you just take it for the free training. That's the whole point. I want to seriously have you guys, and more important, so not only just doing it, but sharing it. Getting the word out is huge because it's so hard on Facebook to do advertisements now when it's related to firearms. So I can't do those like sponsored ads to help get the word out. It's hard to do that kind of thing on Google even now with firearm stuff. So if you guys want to just share it, it would help a bunch, especially on websites, like on a forum, not just social media stuff, but a forum somewhere, or sending to someone for a blog saying, look, free firearms training here. Seriously, blow the site up. I would love to have tons of people come use it.
Yeah, and I'm excited too. And I was curious, and I have not taken the course, and it may cover it in there. So with the Virginia CCW, right? Do you have to renew that like you would a normal concealed weapon? Like in Arizona, I think you have to renew that. I don't know how often, but
so the Rocket CCW, I didn't name Virginia CCW or Virginia anything on purpose because the Virginia one is just the first one I've started with. I'm actually going to be able to get you more than just Virginia CCW with Rocket CCW. So the online firearms training just checks a box to say that you've been trained by someone that's been certified and approved by the state, which I had to work on to get, that you had a firearm safety course. And then the certificate you get is an actual unique serialized, like the system gives you a serial number in your certificate for your name and everything. So the state, I can work with the state, they can call me, and I have a whole database of everyone's certificate. So I know exactly by serial number who actually took the course and who tried to Photoshop it. So that works for Virginia, but it's also going to work for a couple other states. I just need to get those up next. And if you notice also, Jason, if you look at the course, it doesn't say, Virginia CCW course. It just says basic handgun safety. And the reason I did that is because it'll apply to more. But when you take this and you apply for the non-resident Virginia, which works no matter where you live, I kid you not, I get 5 to 10 emails a day saying, oh man, I wish this worked for me, but I live in California. 5 to 10 that say, yeah, I live in California, I can't do it. I'm like, no, you can. Anywhere you live in the United States, you can get this thing as long as you qualify. Larry said, when I say Virginia CCW, is that a non-resident CCW that's reciprocal from many other states? Yes, definitely. So you live in California, you can get this non-resident Virginia CCW by using the Rocket CCW program. And when you finish, if you don't know how to apply or what you should be doing, I made a follow-on course for you that's free for people that get their CCW So in the email, it says you'd like a follow-on application guide. Click here; it's free for you. And I walk you through literally every step of the VA application. Every question, I give an explanation of what you should be putting and how, and everything, even a checklist of what to mail off to Virginia and downloads for everything. So I make it as easy as possible. And you get this non-resident Virginia CCW, and you can carry into up to 32 states and over half the country. And the online obligation from you is under 20 minutes. Maybe 30 minutes total if you include filling out the application. Now, there's one reason you're going to have to leave your house, and that's to get your fingerprints. I can't stop that one. But everything else can be done from the comfort of your own home. I hope you guys check it out. Yeah, if you do it, Jason, definitely let me know about that one too. Larry asked, is it legal to have multiple states? Yes, you can have CCWs for as many states as you want. Matter of fact, Larry, when I say up to 32 states, I'm not saying exactly 32. It's because your home state probably won't recognize the non-resident Virginia. Like I live in Tennessee, and in Tennessee, they say if you've lived here, once you've lived here at least 6 months, you need a Tennessee permit to carry here. So that makes sense. The state you're a resident of is going to want you to have their own permit. But when I'm traveling and I go to Nevada, for example, I'm go to Las Vegas, I want to carry a gun. By using Rocket CCW, I can now carry in Nevada because it's one of the 32 states. And by adding the other states, it's going to add a couple more for coverage, but not significantly more. It's just going to give you guys more options. So yeah. So check it out, Jason, and whatever else Rocket I can make up for you.
No, I'm actually excited to finish this course, and I want to do the follow-up on the SOT courses as well, and check those out.
Okay.
And I was going to ask,
what kind of FFL are you thinking about getting? Is what I want to know, and then I want to know too, because learning, I want other people to learn from you. What's maybe one thing you've learned so far from the course? And I don't care that you give away free information. Just keep it to one thing.
Well, I have to say the one thing that I laughed at that I learned was that when you talk about there's no such thing as a class 3, because that's a term that's thrown around since as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
That was probably the funniest thing that I learned that really stuck out to me.
It's like a pet peeve of mine. I still say it sometimes too, but yes, everybody, there's no such thing as a class 3 firearm.
Right. And so that was great for me to learn that. As far as the FFL that I want to get, I'm really torn between a 1 and a 7. I would like to pursue, building ARs and doing that and possibly selling them, which would require the 7. Or
I'm losing you a little bit again, brother. Say that again.
I said I would like to build AR-15s and sell them, which would require the Class 7 FFL.
Yeah.
Or
Type 7. Yep.
Yeah, Type 7. Or do I just want to start basic and get the 1 and get my feet wet and then do a 7 later?
Yeah, there's a big cost difference for sure. I mean, well, actually, the Type 7 is cheaper to get the FFL for the first 3 years. It's cheaper to be the manufacturer's FFL, ironically, for the first 3 years than it is just to be a dealer. And you can be a dealer, of course, with the manufacturer's Type 7 FFL. But the ITAR registration is just going to kill you.
Right.
Now the good news is Trump is renewing Obama's export control reform initiative. If you don't know what that's about, go check out Recoil's website. I wrote an article for Recoil Web that explains what the export control initiative is and how it came out. And now this is kind of freaky, but I gave a little bit of history on it, that Obama was actually trying to help out the firearms industry, believe it or not. You'll see it in the article. And he went to the initiative to move all of the firearms industry stuff off of ITAR under the State Department and move it over to the Commerce Control List under Commerce, which would be really good for us. And right when that was through its process, it was like, I think it was at the last part of committees, Newtown happened. And so they pulled it off because of political reasons to not lessen, restrictions in the firearms industry because of the shooting at Newtown. And then a couple years later, Obama went to do it again to renew the export control reform initiative and to get firearms not as strictly controlled under ITAR. And San Bernardino happened that week or that month at least, and a political reason it got pulled off again. So a couple weeks ago, I got word that it had gone over to the Congressional Budget Office for approval, and I think like Federal Register publications to approve, that it was the right cost and everything was done right, which is the last step before it gets approved. It left state or commerce on a Friday, and on a Monday it arrived for the final budget approvals for the change. And guess what happened that Monday? Las Vegas.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I've talked to a couple of people. They're like, see, that's the government. It's conspiracy. That's proof. No, it's not. If the government really wanted to like stop guns coming off of ITAR, they would just stop trying to take them off of ITAR. They wouldn't, try to take them off ITAR, then come up with some complicated way to keep them on. They just would stop trying to take them off. It's just a little, I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat here. I don't think there's a connection. It's just a little freaky, a little coincidental that the 3 times we've tried to do that is the 3 times we've had our worst mass shootings, which is horrible. I don't mean to laugh about it. I mean to just interesting connections and timing, but I don't hear yet that it's been withdrawn. So I bring this up, Jason, because maybe getting your Type 7 is a good time to get it. Because if Trump moves things off of ITAR, that means you're not going to be paying ITAR registration fees to make rifles anymore, right, which would make it a no-brainer. Now, for the rest of you that keep saying, I'm not sure when I get my FFL yet, I'm not sure yet. Well, Jason's going to have his, and I'm already backlogging the ATF. I've already heard from ATF people that I am backlogging their system by sending so many people there to get their FFLs. I hope you get in while the getting's good. The wrong time to decide to start getting your FFL is when a gun buy starts happening again and everyone starts panicking to get guns out of everyone's inventory, because you're going to take the course, hopefully. Even if you don't take the course, fine. You're still 2 or 3 months out till you get your FFL. And 2 or 3 months when you get that, then another month for your SOT. Then you're going to be registering perhaps for ITAR. You're going to be so far behind the curve, you'll never get any guns. So I hope you take it. I'd love to have your business, but Jason's going to be set, or I hope he is.
That's the plan anyway.
All right, good. Noah didn't wait till it was raining to start building the ark.
That's right. I did have a question on when I do my FFL and do my SOT, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I decide to get a silencer, which will come to me. My fingerprints and my photo that's already on record, will that work when I want to transfer it to my trust, where I don't have to resubmit those now that they have a record of them? No, you still have to resubmit them.
Just like you have to resubmit them every time you get a new silencer. Anyway, because technically they'd have them on record anyway.
Right.
The only time it will work is if you have them in for an FFL and you're applying for an additional FFL. You can do that.
Then you can roll it over, which we talk about in the course. Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
All
right, man. Well, good catching up. Oh, let me tell you where I was at. For everyone else that didn't hear, because Jason and I talked a little beforehand, I just got back from the airport, just got home. So I came over to my office and fired up the computer to do the podcast. I was doing another wind reading education for crop sprayers. It was awesome. I was out at Bayer in North Carolina, and I was educating their folks that spray pesticides and herbicides how to better read wind so they don't have I had a blast. The people are amazing. They're very receptive to it. And I actually had them reading wind better than some other people. We were doing some wind reading examples with Mirage. And I'm talking within 5 or 7 minutes, I'd be saying, all right, guys, look at this. Tell me what's going on with the wind. And I had people right away saying, 3 miles an hour left to right. I'm like, holy smokes, yes, you're right. You're getting it. So it was really cool that they were able to read wind. I think their minds were kind of blown that they could read wind a few hundred yards away using a scope or binoculars, because they're used to having to use handheld wind meters. So it was really cool. I'm loving that there's this like weird niche that I never expected would have existed, for these two companies to collide, to get, a client like, that kind of client. It has been very fun. So for everyone that's been getting emails or delays, I still try to respond to every email, but I think I got to give up, guys. For everyone that's writing me, I love it. For a year and a half now, I've made a full court press on getting back into media and the book and stuff like that. And I've tried to answer every email. I get too many. I went to do the 1 hour presentation in front of Bayer, which is to start. I came back, looked at my phone, and I had 123 emails in that hour. And they were all from customers or people asking questions. So it has become off the charts impossible now for me to respond to them all. And I'm sorry. I'll try my best. I might put on an autoresponder on my email that says, you're important to me. Don't think that I'm ignoring you, but there's not enough hours in the day, guys. So I'm trying my best, and maybe I'll spend less time with the emails and more time maybe blogging, or maybe more time getting the answers up in other places, because so many of the questions are, hey, I got this rifle, what kind of scope should I get? Or things like that. So maybe I'll have more of a knowledge base or somewhere I can point you to first before I get the question. So just putting that out there. And I kind of, if you can tell, I'm kind of sad about it. It's because I am. I prided myself in responding to everybody, but just not anymore. Unless Jason wants to quit working, just answering emails for a job.
Oh, I would love it. I would love it. I wish I could. I wish I could.
So,
but if I had to recommend a starter scope, I've had really good luck with the Vortexes.
The PST.
Well, I have the HST, the hunting version.
Oh, yep. That's right. Mm-hmm.
But after doing a lot of reading, a lot of homework, plus you can't beat the warranty. So if you drop it and bust it, they fix it. So
yeah.
If nothing else, the warranty is fantastic on it.
I agree. Obviously, it's awesome. I'm glad you had it. We even had some of the Vortex binoculars and spotting scopes out there for the videos. And it's just, yeah, it's going to take, I think, the next year for them to filter out all those, because we filmed, I think, like close to 30 videos for them to filter them all out. But they'll get out there, and maybe, just maybe, we had fun and did some April Fool's videos while we're out there too. Just because I don't think I can go to a video shoot without goofing around. So we'll see how that comes out. All right, Jason, you have anything else to cover, man?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm so sorry I missed last week. Don't think that means that we're getting off schedule again. That just really was. I did not have the internet access I expected out there in Texas. And I'm back, and I do have the internet access. And I don't know when my next podcast is going to be. We did an introductory episode. I don't know what night it's going to be yet. But as I figure it out, I'll let you guys know. And Jason, as always, man, thanks again for being on.
Oh, dude, it's a blast. I enjoy doing it.
All right. Take care, everybody.
See you, everybody. Bye.